noun which is the only one of its kind. It can also talk about before nouns of institutions, before nouns referring to institutions, before nouns referring to institutions. For example, the Kenyatta University. We have only one Kenyatta University. The University of Nairobi, we only have one. We also talk about institutions. So in that case, it refers to the institution and also number one here above. That means we have only one Kenyatta University and one Nairobi University in the whole world. There is none like them. So names of institutions. We also have names of organizations. We have names referring to organizations like the United Nations. The United Nations. When you talk about the United Nations, it is referring to this. It refers to organizations which are well known. You do not have to ask which is that United Nations because it is well known. We also use it before natural features. We use the word there before natural features such as the Nile, the Himalayas, the Sahara Desert, so these are natural features. So we use the word there before natural features now, or nouns referring to natural features. Now then we move on to the next determiners, which is a and an, and we start with a. When you talk about, when we use there, we say it is used with specific nouns. The opposite, the opposite is when we come to a. Now a is used with general nouns. Okay, let's take the first example that we had. Give me the books. Now if we replace determiner there with a, we'll say give me a book. In this case, in the first case, you find that this one is referring to a certain book which is well known, but in this case the book is not specific, it is just a general book. It is, so that is why we are using a. And as we said that there can be used with singular and plural nouns, the word a or determiner a can only be used with singular nouns. So article there is only used with singular nouns with words that start with consonants. Consonants. So we can have a book, a girl, or even a boy. So these are things that these are words that are learned right from class 3. Even class 1, they learn this use of a. Then we move to an. An is another article which is used with general nouns. It is general, not specific like article there. And it's used with vowel sounds. words that start with vowel sounds, like an egg, an umbrella. And apart from that, it is also used with words, some of the words that start with consonant sounds but may have the first letter, which is a consonant, being silent, like the word air. So find that this one is H there is silent, so you will say an air, because this is silent H. So that is the use of the articles, the article the, article a, and article an. We move on to use of other determiners. The other determiners that we'll talk about are determiner sum, and determiner any. Sum, any, determiner many, and much. These are determiners which are sometimes confused, and we interchange their uses, but let's look at how they are used in sentences. We look at the first one, which is sum. So the word sum is used with countable and uncountable nouns. These are countable nouns, are nouns that we can count, like we had the first examples, like a book, a pencil, a boy, a girl, a stone. You can count. You can say, I have 2 stones, I have 3 stones. So in that case, we are using it with countable nouns. So with countable nouns, it shows the amount. Shows the amount of something, or the amount of the noun, or also the quantity. Shows the amount or quantity of the noun. The first one with countable nouns. I have 3 pencils. I have 3 pencils. We can also replace some of the words here. Instead of saying 3, we say, I have some pencils. This one is used with plural noun. This word is plural. And we can also use it in singular. I have. Okay, it is not used in singular because you can't have the word some and use with one item, so it is only used with plural nouns. Then we move to uncountable nouns. Use of the word some with uncountable nouns, like we have items that we don't count, we can't count them, like liquids, we don't count water, we don't count tea, we don't count milk. So we say, I have some milk in the glass, I have some flour. So I write, I have some flour. So you find that you can't count the flour, so that's why you are using some. It is also used with positive nouns, positive ideas. Now you see that here you have an amount of flour. If we take the opposite, if you don't have flour, you cannot say I have some flour. So it shows that it is positive. You have some amount of the item that you are referring to. That is the use of some. Let's look at the use of any. Any is a word that is usually confused with some. That's why we are looking at it. Determiner any is still used with an amount of something. An amount of something. An amount of the noun which is being referred to in this case. But it is the opposite of some in that it is used in the negative. It is used with negative ideas. The word any or determiner any is used with negative ideas. An example, here we said I have some pencils, and we have replaced the word 3 with some. If you don't have pencils, you would say do not have any pencil. I do not have any pencil. So you find that it can be used with singular nouns, because here it is about pencil, or you can say I do not have any pencils. We can also say I don't have any flour. I don't have any flour. So you find that the word any is used with negative ideas, while the word some is used with positive ideas. Now, both the word some and any can also be used to ask questions. So they can be used interrogatively to ask questions. For example, if somebody asks, do you have some flour? It is a question. If you answer your question in the positive, you will use some. But if it is negative, that is if you don't have, you will use the word any. You can say, yes, I have some flour. I have some flour. And then if you answer in the negative, that is if you don't have flour, you'll say no, I don't have any flour. So to differentiate between the two words, the determiner some and determiner any, bear in mind that determiner some is used in positive ideas, while determiner any is used with negative ideas. We move on to our next determiner, which is many. The next determiner that we are going to talk about is determiner many. So many is a determiner or a word which is used with countable nouns, because you can count them. For example, when I have 10 sweets, another person has sweets in a packet. This person can count the sweets, they are 10, but if they are in a packet of sweets, a packet of sweets. If someone has a packet of sweets, he or she may not be able to count the sweets, but because they are in a packet, but the person can say, I have many sweets. So it means that it is more than one. It is more than one. Even when there are 10, you can still say that I have many sweets, but sometimes things may not be counted, and therefore you use the word many to refer to the amount or the quantity of the items that you have. The other one, okay, before we move to the other one, which is much, we can also use determiner many in asking questions. So it is used interrogatively. For example, how many books do you have? The answer can be, you can give the specific number of the books that you have by saying, I have 10 books, I have 5 books. Sometimes the number may not be specific, so you say, I have many books. So that is the use of the word many or determiner many. Now we use the word much. We look at the uses of the word much or determiner much and how it can be used in a sentence. Now we have said that the word many is used with countable nouns. It is used with countable nouns, and the countable nouns are in plural. So the word many is used with plural countable nouns. Then we move on to the word much or determiner much. The word much is used with uncountable. It is used with uncountable nouns. It is used before countable nouns, and it is used the way we use the word many. The only difference is that much is used with uncountable nouns, things we cannot count. For example, I may say that I have much money. In the bank. Now, the word money is a noun which is uncountable because you can't count the particles that are used to make money. It's just like saying, I have much flour. You can't count the particles that are used to make the flour. So when you say I have much money, it means the particles that make the money, not 100 shillings, not 200 shillings. It means the particles that are used to make the money. They are uncountable. We have things like water. We have things like all liquids. Actually, you can't count them. Then we move on to other determiners, and the determiners are a little. You're looking at determiner a little, few, and a few. These are determiners which are usually confused. That is a few versus few, and a little versus little. So we start with a few. This word or determiner a few means that it is something which is not so small, not so small in amount, and not so much. That is the meaning of a few. It means that you don't have many of the items, and also you don't have so little of the items that you are talking about. Now, in this case, not only it can be humans, people. In this case, you can talk about people. People, talk about things. You can talk about people, you can talk about things. So examples in sentences, you can say that a few people attended the meeting. Now, when you say a few people attended the meeting, it means that you expected more people to attend, or you expected a higher number of people to attend the meeting, but you find that less than that number have attended. So you say a few people have attended the meeting. A few people attended the meeting. You can also say that a few goats. A few goats were slaughtered. Maybe there was a party and you had expected to have very many people, like maybe 300 persons to attend a party, but maybe only 100